Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Hafiza binti Mat Zohir. Today, I will present about the case of flight of fraud. I from group 6 and my friend is Vicky. Vicky will present about the issue and Mina will present about the solution. Okay. Now I will proceed to introduction about this case. This case have the main character which is Mr. Idris. Mr. Idris is the CEO of Trading Investment Holding Berhad and Mr. Agus Bagus. He is external auditor of MTSB and Norihan. Norihan is the friend of Mr. Idris. She is human resources manager and work in subsidiary of TIH. And Mr. Go, he is the CFO, Chief Finance Officer in company MTSB. MTSB is the Malaysian Travels near Berhad. Okay. For the firstly, the task of the CEO went to identify the solution to recover the loss. This is due to economic crisis in 2019. Mr. Idris called for the meeting among the senior management, and Mr. Idris found that there was no result investment made by one of the subsidiary. And in 2016, MTSB, which is Malaysian Travels Sdn Berhad, had joint venture with TGS, Turkistan Global Service Sdn Berhad, to form new entity, which is MTT, Malaysian Turkistan Travels Sdn Berhad. The purpose to form a new entity is to exploring travel business opportunities in Turkistan. In this entity, MTSB only hold 40% of share, whereas the others held by TGS. Okay. However, Mr. Idris found that there was no progress after the forming of MTT. Norihan, which is the friends of Mr. Idris, told to the Mr. Idris that the company may have been established under fraudulent circumstances and the staff morale was very low due to late salary payment. Mr. Idris decided to have a detailed investigation on MTT by outsourcing to external auditor, which is Mr. Agus. Mr. Agus found that MTT only have a few staff and the company operation was severely certain due to lack of the fund. And Mr. Agus also found there is no relevant document related to investment in MTT. And MTSB do not have any effort to contact MTT to inquiry any document. Okay, based on the MOU is the Memorandum of Understanding. MTSB, Malaysian Travels Sdn Berhad, paid RM RM8 per share for 100,000 units, which is 40% of their shareholding in MTT. Through the investment, Mr. Agus realized that MTT's paid up capital have increased from RM2 ringgit to 250,000 on July 2006, but there is no audited account had been issued to shareholder, nor any filing made by the CCM. Okay, that's all from me. Now I will pass to the Vicky to explain about the issue. Thank you.
Okay, now I'm going to present the issue of this case. Actually, we divide the issue into three. The first one is lack of control, the second one is conflict of interest, and the third one is unclear leadership and poor management. So let's look into the first one, lack of control. Okay, basically, internal control are the mechanism adopted in a business to protect its asset, ensure the accuracy and reliability of the financial information, ensure compliance with all financial operational requirement, achieve operational efficiency, and generally assist in achieving the overall business objective. But in this case, there is a misconception where MTSB have mistaken MTT as its association rather than joint venture. So here it is clearly stated in the MOE, which is Memorandum of Understanding, that MTT is a subsidiary to MTSB, and therefore MTT is a joint venture between MTSB with 40% of shares and TGS with 60% shares. So MTSB has the responsibility to control over MTT. It is a jointly controlled entity with each venturer having a respective interest in MTT. Additionally, with this joint control, it encompasses the contractually agreed sharing of control and arrangement. However, the office manager of MTSB had been instructed to inform the auditors, which in this case beggars, that MTT was an associate company formed on equity base and amount invested was immaterial for consolidation. So with this misconception, there was no internal control being taken on accounting, such as no document on proper recording and authorization of financial transaction to prove the investment in MTT. Okay, the second issue is conflict of interest. There is a conflict of interest among the three companies, MTSB, TGS, and MTT. Basically, conflict of interest arises when an individual or organizational personal interest conflict with their other related responsibility. So in this case, during the venture setup, the executive director of MTSB had been Yatim Noor, and his son Omar Yatim had been the board member in TGS. It was later confirmed by former human resource manager of subsidiary of TIH, Norihan, that the boss of the joint venture company MTT had been the son-in-law of the MTSB's director. So here it is clear that there is a relationship-based management style arise within the MTSB, TGS, and MTT. So since there is a conflict between them, all the decision only made to satisfy a personal need rather than the betterment of the company. Additionally, the lack of documentation and portfolio of monitoring MTT further portray the MTSB's management style. And additionally, the passive action towards this issue shows that the lack of coordination as well as the lack of internal control between MIT and MTSB, and ultimately many staff will leave and overhead expenses will definitely increase if this situation continue in future. Okay, now let's look into the third issue, which is unclear leadership and poor management. In this case, the director who did not practice internal control on preventive and detective measure has caused MTSB suffered from stricken cash flow, and this also led to a negative working environment with low employee morale for the past 3 years. This incompetent MTT leader may also be unable to answer queries raised by the employees, leaving subordinate in the dark over what to do. This is the main problem which leads to communication breakdown in the MTT. Additionally, insufficient planning during the company building phase, and like surging forward with plan without taking the time to realize that the base assumption of the business plan is not adequate, which could bound the company to fail. Actually, at the very beginning, TGS and MTSB didn't have a clear agreement about who will be in charge of the day-to-day operational control in MTT and how fundamental decisions will be made. And leader who is not aware of firm's objective also lead to the problem due to the intemperate and inexperienced leader running the MTTS business operation. So that's all for my part. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mina Karavanan. Okay, for my part, I will discuss possible solution for the issues. Okay, as discussed my friend previously, the first issue is lack of internal control. So the first step to be taken is for MTSB to recognize MTT as a joint venture company according to the MOU and not as an associate. MTSB will have joint control with TGS over the matters in MTT, such as financial or economic activities, and make strategic financial as well as operating decision. The control structure of MTSB should be improved in all significant functions in MTSB in order to manage the risk faced by MTSB and to protect its assets like the RM 800,000 investment to achieve its objective in expanding the tourism business. Since MTSB has joint control over MTT, the audit committee from MTSB should monitor the progress in MTT at least twice a year to update the financial status or position like the cash flow for the project undertaken in MTT. Okay, besides that, TIH should also impose a strict guideline regarding audit process in addition to the improve the internal control. One of the consideration is by having an effective in-house internal audit function as a third line of defense. So, MTSB could be also consider setting up the independent team to monitor and oversee the progress of MTT as its subsidiary. They also, and TIH also should restructure MTSB and appoint capable and reliable director to restore MTSB so that positive working culture or environment can be infused into the company in a long term and sustainability. The second issue arise in this case is conflict of interest. Now let's have a look for the possible solution for the issue. In strengthening the monitoring and preventive system, MTSB and MTT are proposed to disclose all the management related issues and decisions during the meetings. This would allow the holding company to audit the performance and tendency of subsidiary management. MTSB also is required to submit a clear and unbiased report to TIH regarding all their current and future investment as well as the business plan. So MTSB is strictly commanded to abide the transparency, accuracy, and objectivity of the management as obligation of subsidiary company towards the holding company. These are seen as strong independent variables in improving the quality of corporate governance practice in the company. For unclear leadership and poor management, a frequent meeting among TGS and MTSB management team needs to be done in determining the operational control in MTT. Many of meetings should be kept distributed and acknowledged always. The issue arise which can be solved within the MTSB team shall be recognized to the TIH for necessary action. Besides that, as for incapable director, TIH also should need to restructure MTSB and appoint a capable and reliable director to restore the MTSB so that the positive working culture or environment can be infused into the company for long term. Without the discipline and accountability, optimal results are difficult to achieve in personally or corporately. So personal accountables should be recognized. If anyone was found to involve in any action related to the fraud, appropriate action shall be taken for the individual immediately to avoid this kind of issue happen again. Okay, that's all from us. Thank you.